The European Union says it's planning new sanctions against Belarus in response to what it describes as state terrorism and human trafficking. EU officials accuse Belarus of flying migrants in from the Middle East and sending them to the border to cross into EU territory. Thousands of people are stranded in freezing conditions between Poland and Belarus. There are reports of both countries attempting to push people back across to the other side. Poland has declared an exclusion zone and is not allowing aid workers or journalists into the area. For the first time, a top EU official has even suggested building a wall or barrier along the bloc's external borders. Our correspondent Marina Strauss met with several people familiar with the human drama unfolding along the frontier.
A refugee shelter in Poland near the border with Belarus. Taresk arrived here only a few days ago. The 29-year-old Syrian says he didn't see a future in his country, and he only saw one way out.
I asked the tourism office in Damascus how I can get a visa to Belarus. He tell me go to Belarus embassy in Damascus and you should ask to visa. When we go to the embassy, he asked me why you need go to Belarus. I say I need for tourism.
Józef Atala also tried to enter Poland via Belarus. He says Polish border guards pushed him back several times before he managed to get here. But it was the Belarusian border guards who caused his injuries.
He just kicked me in the face. He broke a bone here, broke my nose, 2 teeth, and I still have a painful rib. When I get the hit, I passed off for a couple minutes. Then my friends, after I woke up, my friend told me that after I passed out, he do me another kick.
Poland has seen a surge in the number of people trying to enter from Belarus. The EU accuses Belarus of gangster-style techniques by pushing migrants into Poland. The situation has now escalated, with an estimated 2,000 migrants and refugees stuck at the border, as these videos by Polish border guards allegedly show. Images that are hard to verify, as police cars block the streets towards the border.
I'm right outside the exclusion zone here. So this road you can see behind me leads to Belarus. But I'm not allowed to enter here, as are other journalists and also humanitarians.
The Polish border guards face harsh criticism for pushing back asylum seekers, an approach that usually violates EU law. The regional border guard spokeswoman says Poland has to protect its border. We have to keep in mind that these people came to Belarus legally on organized trips. Poland is not the first country for them to apply for protection. These people travel through Turkey, through other countries. We drive along the exclusion zone to at least meet with people who can witness how it is inside these vast forests. Joanna Lapinska lives in a village right at the border. For months, she has spent all her spare time helping refugees.
We need medical and humanitarian aid here immediately, but for a longer term, I think we can't keep people in the border zone because it provokes chaos in Europe, in the whole Europe. So I think it is dangerous for peace and safety.
But for now, Polish authorities will continue to control access to the border and make it impossible to verify what is happening there.
I'm joined now by Belarusian journalist Hanna Lubikova. Hanna, how do the stories and first-hand accounts of the refugees we've just heard and the EU's description of state-sponsored human trafficking compare to what the Belarusian people are being told in terms of what's going on at their border with Poland?
In state media in Belarus, there is no information about violence, about these injuries that migrants received from Belarusian border guards. So the regime in Belarus does not sort of accept these accusations, and they absolutely ignore it. At the same time, despite this media blackout in Belarus, even Deutsche Welle's website is blocked currently in my country. Belarusians have access to independent media, have access to some objective, neutral information, and they know that what's happening on the border. They, more importantly, know why the crisis is happening, and they understand that Minsk, Belarus, is not the usual route for migrants from the Middle East, and they heard that this is all related to the regime, and they blame the regime for this. They don't want their country to become the hub for illegal migration.
Hannah, what do we think is Lukashenko's goal here, and does it leave us thinking he's willing to further escalate the conflict with the EU?
Lukashenko wants to escalate the conflict. He wants to raise the costs. He wants to force, to blackmail Europe, the West, to negotiate with him, to talk to him again, to discuss the crisis and ask to solve this migration crisis. That's something that Lukashenko expects because he lost legitimacy since the past elections last year. He also wants to show to his citizens that the West also is involved in human rights violations, because that's what he has been accused of. And he definitely wants to escalate, provoke the situation at the border, because that's something that also escalates the situation inside Poland and Lithuania, who Lukashenko accuses of sanctions and of supporting the democratic forces.
What of the people stuck in the middle here? What can be done for the refugees there at the border? Is there any organised path to get aid through?
Well, this is very tricky. So yesterday there was information about the Red Cross from the side of Belarus coming to migrants on the border and delivering food and water and some aid. However, at the same time, when it comes to civil society, most organizations in Belarus have been destroyed. So these people, these migrants on the border, have to rely on some official aid from authorities in Belarus, and they cannot receive help from civil society, from people, because they're just not allowed to come to the border. And unfortunately, on the Polish side, there is also the similar situation when humanitarian organizations cannot come. But even if Polish side actually would like to send some humanitarian aid to Belarus, the regime would most probably refuse it, as it has done a few months ago with humanitarian trucks from Poland.
Anna Lubovkova, thank you.